The reason why I'm not crazy about Valentine's Day is because every day feels like Valentine's Day.
Well, I said that and somebody went, ew. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
How did you guys meet your significant others? And how did you know they were the one?
Ladies first. Ladies
Yes.
first. Christina.
The only time.
And I love telling the story.
I love telling my story.
He tells it slightly differently.
Oh,
Obviously,
David's is
'cause
different
it's
too.
Always.
His
yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
right? But we actually met on a set
Oh.
in 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Coming up on
2002.
20 years ago. We were but children.
So wait, you
Crazy
guys were
fast.
dating for that long?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so we met in 2002 on a set. He says, oh, I saw her across the way in this sea of 100 extras.
She
And
floated to me.
something like that. For me, I just remember we met and we hit it off and we were friends and we kept in touch and then we would work together in different capacities, all within, this world that we live in, production and all that. And then about 2.5 years ago, we were friends for 15 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, and he would, there'd be a few times where he'd be like, why won't you go out with me? Or, things like that. And I'm like, oh, because we're friends. And we would go
I don't
out
wanna ruin
to
it.
eat and to,
Did you let him pay?
Actually, I paid a lot.
Oh, okay.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Very progressive.
And,
You
and
know,
then,
very.
well, he said he
Or
was
cheap
just
on his
kind of
part.
joking, and then I just kind of took it. But I was like, yeah, I got it. So, but I was a single parent for this entire time. And so, like a few years ago, we actually started hanging out more, working more closely, and
Hanging out.
then one day it was like,
Best.
I had just
That is
finished.
good.
Yeah, I had just finished a job for him, and I was turning in the project files and everything. And he goes, "Hey, you want to go grab some sushi?" Yeah, sure.
There you
So
go,
we
turned out
go.
sushi.
We had such a good time, and then I was already kind of feeling, I kept fighting. I was like, "No, I don't want to have feelings for him because
Aw.
he was my friend, and I didn't want to, cross that line."
Yeah.
So I dropped him off at his house, and when I dropped him off, he leaned in to try and kiss me, and he did horribly. So bad. It was like one of those, the worst
But
ones.
he knows this.
Oh yeah,
Did he
knows
know
it.
at the time it was a bad
We
kiss?
both knew at that moment. We're like, oh man, that was bad. It's
Did you give yourself a take two? Like,
get
all right.
into that.
Okay.
No, but it was like one of those like, what did I do? He's my friend. No, I think my cheeks are turning red right now. And so he gets out of the car and he comes around to my side because I was on the driver's side, and he goes, "I'm gonna try this again." And then when he did, take two was like, oh my god, us.
You gotta get it to take one jitters out.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
And then it was just like a whirlwind after that. But there were a few times. There was one time that he mentioned, and years ago, he mentioned like one day we were hanging out. He goes, "I'm gonna end up marrying you," and I go, "No." I was just completely like, "No."
Yeah, it happens.
Mary.
If you like me, this is so funny. Yeah. His is a little bit more elaborate, and he has much more, like, I chased her for 15 years, and she didn't want to go out with me, and
I was persistent.
yes.
I was the man.
It's a fine line, persistence in stalking.
No.
Kind of.
No, it is. It really is.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way. It's,
Yeah.
Why did you stalk Amelia?
I mean, I feel like I kind of did.
I kind of
Yes, I think that's a
I've
great
heard Amelia's
segue.
version, but I want to hear yours.
Amelia, I feel like, all right, so the way Amelia starts off is that we looked this up heading up into our wedding. We met on January 10th, 2005. The reason we know that is because that's the first date of our physics class that we met in. We were lab partners, physics lab partners. That's how I remember meeting her. She remembers me going down to the professor's desk and dropping off a box of tissues on her desk because she was sniffling. If you ask me, more than likely what was happening, I was hungover. I heard a girl who was loudly sniffling, and I was like, let me take care of this so I can go back to the back of the auditorium and take a nap. But we were physics lab partners. There was supposed to be 2 guys and 2 girls. The other guy dropped a class, so it was me and Amelia and her friend Stephanie, and we really just hit it off, and we were friends for ever until like we were the kind of instantly close friends that like an intimacy you shouldn't have with somebody you've just met. A very like there was a kinship there that at that age I wasn't ready to like be adult in a romance, and it was a good thing I didn't try to date her when I was that age because I would have screwed it up.
Yeah.
And
My husband says the same thing.
yeah, well,
when you meet
everything in the right time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because had we dated when I was 18 or 19 and she was 21, we were always seeing other people. She was in a very long committed relationship, and I was an idiot. It was just...
My husband says the same thing.
Well, I was young. I was stupid. I was trying to be cool as opposed to like trying to find happiness. I was trying to like chase something. And then in 2011? Yeah, 2011 I moved out to LA. I was still dating somebody back east in a long distance relationship. And one of the few people she told me I wasn't allowed to hang out with when I moved out to LA was Amelia. Because I jokingly put Amelia on like my top 5 hall pass people. Because like I thought Amelia Myers,
people in your hall pass?
Amelia Myers.
She knew.
Amelia Myers, unattainable.
She
But like
knew.
in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, I was like, Amelia Myers is unattainable.
Women know.
Like that's not somebody.
my
She's
God.
at most she's my friend, but she's too pretty. She's too smart. Like all these things. Like she would never give me the time of the day. So eventually, Eileen and I break up. Amelia's single, and for a while she'd been saying, "Okay, cool. I want to find a guy like you. I want to find a guy like you." And I was like, "All right, cool. Well, me. I'm free now." She's like, "No, we're friends. No, we're friends. I don't want to ruin it. We're friends." And we become the kind of friends that like hang out and talk till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning about nothing. Found out that she's into like the same kind of really angry rock and roll that I'm into, which like for Amelia, you're like, that's surprising. She's into System of a Down and like
Oh my god.
like angry rock and roll from that era. And I was picked her up one time to like go do something, and I was like, oh, I have to change the radio station. And she's like, no, I like that song. I was like, yeah, all right. I think you said, when do we know they were the one?
Yeah, like what was that moment that like made it click for you?
For me, I think the moment I realized she was the one was when the notion of her being happy meant more to me than me getting satisfaction in our relationship, like the romantic aspect of it, because like she broke it off with me, and I was like, cool, go be happy, but go move to New York, see if it's gonna work out with that guy, because if you're in LA, you're my girl. And like a few previous things, like I'd see her out with a guy and I'd be like, all right, I'd see her out and I'd see her interaction with the guy, I'd be like, are you trying to talk to that guy? Like, go do that thing, because like I want you to be happy. And I think that the breadth of our relationship is like me being preoccupied with not screwing our relationship up and supporting her in her happiness, because it makes me happy. Because actively don't believe I deserve her. And that's like a consistent. That's a theme I think throughout our relationship will be that I will try to like instill that in our daughter, instill that in our future children, that like you should find somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life trying to live up to, but someone that will never ever look down on you or ever like treat you like you're less.
Yeah.
And so like it's great because she's an aspirational person. I think that moment, I think she was, we call him AJ, Australian Josh. Like, how am I going to compete with this guy? He's Australian. He plays soccer.
He has an accent.
He has,
Oh my god, the accent.
It's a
The
killer.
accent.
It's a killer.
I know.
You're trying to reach
I
my
had one in my
Minneapolis.
past too. That was the one.
But yeah, I was like, she was like thinking about like fooling around with him. I was like, do it, because I don't want to harsh your, like, I want you to be happy. And I think looking back on it, if I had to pinpoint something, it's kind of like that feeling. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily like a moment. It's more like a longer stretch of me realizing that, like, oh, like if I can't make her happy, I can't be with her. So I need her to be happy.
Let's see. So, wow, January 10th.
January 10th.
So I met my wife January 9th. As far as I'm concerned. January 9th, 2014. It was at our coach's birthday / class day. Yeah, on a Wednesday. And it was my third day at this actor studio that all of you are familiar with. And the precursor to this is that I was supposed to be moving to Costa Rica, and I was studying for the LSAT, and I was writing novels. That's what I was doing before one of my new friends / current best friend convinced me to audit an acting class and take some headshots. So that's what I did. I listened to him, The Voice of the Universe, The Alchemist, Omens, and I audited this acting class, and 3 days into this class, I met my wife. We were giving, like, our coach, Anthony, they were giving him gifts and happy birthday and all this. Class had ended, and well, a few things happened. Sorry. First of all, she was auditioning for my favorite show at the time, A Guilty Pleasure. Don't judge me. Originals. Which one is? The originals on CW.
Vampires are fun, bro.
The vampire is the
Vampires are fun.
the first Vampire Diaries spinoff. That was amazing. And
The first Vampire Diaries spinoff.
the first one, because there's a second one now. Funny enough, she she was talking to a character that we didn't know yet, and she said the name Elijah, and I was like, I don't want to hear it. Because I knew immediately that was my show, and I don't like spoilers. And I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm being rude. All right, so listen. And then one of the rare times that Anthony asked for like input, and I was like, if I could just offer something to you, Miss. I don't know anything about your sex life, but you're gonna have to get Elijah in bed. That's what I told. That's the first thing I ever told my wife, and she was like,
Well, you told her character.
huh?
You told her.
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, that day they were one and the same, and this is like my first time ever speaking up in this new class I'm in. And so I'm sure she was like, "Who's the weird guy in the corner? Why is he telling me this?" That kind of thing. So I felt like, okay, that was weird. And so after class, I walked up to her and sat right in front of her, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to be weird. That's my favorite show, and I know the guy a little bit,
The character.
I know the character. I know the character. Yes. Right, and so she was like, okay, weird man, and so that was that. Proceed to give Anthony the gifts and everything, and somewhere along the lines, she took off, she had this big puff coat. She was always cold in class. She took off this puff coat and like walked up to take a picture with our acting coach, and I must have like did one of these like, hey, and I turned to this guy and I go like, where did all that come from underneath that coat? So it was like 4 things that happened in this one night.
Wow.
Where I'm like, who is this girl? She's auditioning for my show. What is going on here with all of that under the coat? And that was that. And then at the end of the day, she kind of walked up to me and was like, hey, thank you for your help. Gave me one of those like her version is she didn't want to be weird because I was in class with her, and so she was like, "Thanks for your help," and I was like, "Oh no, cool, no problem." She gives me this little hug, this kind of polite pat, but to me it was like, wow, like the sky just opened up.
Aw.
And I kid you not, I felt something, I heard something, I turned to this guy and I go, "Did you feel that too?" You know? And that was January 9th. And then at that point, you know, and I'm not one to jump into things just like that, but it was on my mind. So I started like Googling her, and, you know, I found myself at this table read like a week or so later, a couple weeks later, the 24th maybe.
Let me just check my calendar.
My calendar.
Let me go
It
back.
was the 24th, 25th-ish. And I found myself at this table read, and the stalking, the borderline thing. Yeah. So I'm like pulling up this girl on my laptop going like, "Hey, this is my new girlfriend. She doesn't know it." You know, like showing people pictures. I did that. That was me.
Snap.
And so of course my friends who know me at this table read are like, "That's just Pierce, you know, he's just weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know," they're like, "Are you gonna ask her out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. When? I don't know. Today?" You know, it was that kind of
Pitch
thing.
just goes up.
You just go with, I know. And sure enough, I called her. I'd gotten her number, you know, and I called her that day, like, "Hey, you know, my buddy Alex, you know, the same guy who convinced me to stay here, and my best friend convinced me to stay here, and he's having this thing at his house, he's moving, and, you know, want to go?" And she said, "Yeah," and we, like, went out. And that was our first date. And that was that. Within 2 weeks, that was January 25th, by the Valentine's Day, which I hate Valentine's Day, you know, we had made it exclusive. So it was like a quick turnaround of like, "I don't want to date anybody else." "Me neither. You know, let's do it." It was that kind of thing.
Okay.
And the moment that I guess I just knew was she had this job. She worked with kids, and sometimes the kids get a little rowdy. She worked at a group home, and she came home one day because like these teenage boys they were having a scuffle. I guess she tried to like break them up, or kind of got caught in the crossfire of that and like fell and hit her like wrist on the counter or something like that. But she came home like wrapped up and in pain, and I was just like, I felt like so helpless that she had this job like was physically harming her, and there's nothing I could do. And so like I just fucking broke, you know. And like went in the bathroom. I was like, "I'll be right back." I went in the bathroom, and I was so angry. I just remember being so angry about being helpless, and also just feeling like nothing can happen to her, you know. And it was that moment of, "Oh, holy crap, I cannot live without her." Okay. So and fast forward to like that was like in May. Like by July, I was looking for rings. So I proposed a year after that first date.
Okay.
Internet stalking.
No, but the
Internet
level of just stalking in general, everyone does that.
Everyone does.
Everyone
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that.
Yeah. And it's funny if it works out.
You mean research?
You know? Research. Thank you.
technically
Research. Yeah.
It's technically research.
research.
It's
Recon.
there. So I mean, why not
Yeah.
use it?
Unless
The
you're
resource
showing
I
up
didn't
somewhere
uncover it.
to
I just
check in.
Googled you.
Yeah.
You know, like who doesn't Google people?
I feel like Amelia and I, like, we met before that was a thing.
Yeah, I think you guys did. Yeah.
So like we were just like as we were growing, like getting older through that period of time, we never did that. But we'd always keep tabs on each other, and for whatever reason, when Amelia and I would run into each other, within the first 3 questions of like, "Hey, how are you? How are things?" Blah blah blah. She would always ask me, "Are you seeing anyone?" Because the answer to her question was always the boyfriend that she'd had for a long time, right? But looking back at it now, I'm like, were you subconsciously always just testing the water and seeing what the temperature was?
What did you say? Did you
Has
ask
she
her?
admitted?
I did. She's like, "I don't think so.
Maybe subconsciously.
Yeah, destiny.
You never know.
Meant to be."
Yeah.
No.
Well, David and I, we met at a club in Las Vegas.
Nice. Classy.
And it was Halloween night
Even better.
8 years ago. So bad because there's just so many people there.
What was your slutty outfit?
I was It was slutty, yes.
It's Vegas.
It's Vegas on Halloween night.
Right,
I mean,
that's-
girls were practically naked compared to me. I mean, I was wearing at least a skirt and like a corset thing, but I think I was like a saloon girl. And at the time, I had a pixie haircut. And so we're waiting in line for 2 hours because we just can't get in. And it's a group of girls. I'm telling my friend, like, I don't want to go. Like, I'm ready to go home. Like, I need to go. And she's like, no, you should stay. You should stay. And so we finally get in. But I mean, the club, and this is, have you guys ever been to XS in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think so.
It's spacious. Like, they have the outdoor area and then the indoor. It's a pretty big club. So, but this is Halloween 8 years ago when the club, I think, maybe just opened.
It was a
But
few
it
years old.
was-
Yeah, it was. Dude,
It was like
yeah.
shoulder to shoulder,
Oh,
like
yeah.
this, walking through. And then so the table that we were supposed to be going to, we're meeting up with some guys. We can't find them. So we're just wandering around the club. And so all of a sudden, you hear this voice yelling one of my friends' names. And it's David. And he's at a table with his friends. So we're like, oh, let's just go here. You know, it's just the Vegas thing to do. Like, let's just go to this table. Like, we can sit. And so we go to the table and we're there. And of course, it's Vegas. So when you're meeting people in a club, like, you're just not looking to be in a relationship.
No.
Especially me at the time, I was like about myself. I'm like, I've been single for 3 years. I'm good. I'm good. I'm being on my own.
You run into people in relationships in Vegas. They're single.
Right. No, but my friend, the mutual friend that we have, she was like, oh, he just broke up with his girlfriend a few months ago. And I was like, oh, okay. And
Who needs this
because I
backstory?
just didn't think that he was interested. Because you meet guys, even if you were interested, and then you find out that it's like they didn't get your number or whatever the case may be. So I'm there, and then by the end of the night, David, and we've been talking all night, and David's like, I really enjoy talking to you. Like, can I take you out to dinner? And I'm just like, oh, you're interested. Like, you're interested in me. I'm like, okay. And then I look around, should I give my number? Like, tell me
What's the protocol?
backstory. Especially when you're single for 3 years, you're like, how the hell do I date, right?
Yeah.
And so a week later, we go on the date, and I'm telling you, I'm sitting there at the table, looking at this man, and we're talking about music and our families, and I thought to myself, this is the man that I'm gonna marry.
Oh, wow.
I knew a week after meeting him. I'm like, this is the
so
man.
sweet.
This is the man. I know it because I've
Just got
never
the
met
chills again.
someone. I've never met someone so kind, so generous, and I could just tell. Like, it was weird. It was like this. I saw him, but I also saw like our future together. Like, I could see myself being with somebody for the rest of my life. And at the time, I was single for a number of years. I want to be single. I want to do my own thing. I'm tired. Like, I was one of those girls that I would get into a relationship and I would be in a long-term relationship. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of jumping into a relationship. I need to be single,
Yeah. Apparently
But
not.
he didn't know that. He didn't know that. No, it was rough in the beginning because he didn't know that I was the one. So he didn't know. But if you ask him his story is different. It's different.
Of course.
But he didn't know. So in the first year, we weren't actually together. And I'm thinking, he's the one. Like, he needs to, like, how come he doesn't see that? I'm standing right here. I'm the one for him. How come he just doesn't see it? Like, what is the problem? And of course, it's just, we were really young at the time, especially living in Vegas, and we were partying a lot. I was still in college at the time, partying, and then I think I remember just telling him, like, what the hell is going on? It's either you want to be with me or you don't want to be with me. And he didn't have any words. He was just quiet. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take that as you don't want to be with me. And I left and I ignored him. I didn't talk to him for an entire month.
Ghosted.
Yeah. I was like, no, you're not going to do that to me. We've been literally talking for an entire year, dating for an entire year, and you haven't asked me to be your girlfriend, and I know, like, I knew a weekend that you were the one. And so I ignored him for like an entire month. I like didn't want to text him, and even if I wanted to, I didn't. And then one day I just received this message, and he's like, you know, I want to talk because we didn't really get to talk things out. And I remember telling my sister, he's gonna realize that I'm the one for him. I'm waiting for that message. I'm waiting for him to text me back, because if I could feel it, I know he's gonna feel it because I'm not there. And so that's how it happened.
Wow.
So 7 years later,
You know what?
we're engaged.
Kudos to you, because so a lot of times these stories go the other way of like,
Yeah.
no offense, but like women will just hold on. We're not ready.
Not
and
ready.
like they don't realize what their worth is,
Yeah.
and they'll just like, just hold on, wait.
No, yeah.
Like, no, sometimes we need a kick in the
Exactly,
butt.
and that's why I learned from my previous relationship that I learned what my self-worth, and I figured that out, and that's why I was single for a while, because I was like, I can't treat myself that way. I can't do that to myself.
No.
So you know what? When I started to pick up on, okay, he's maybe not interested in me, or I'm just his arm candy to these like business events, like we're not actually together. I'm like, if that's the case, then I'm done. Like, I'm okay with walking away, but you're gonna realize that I am the one, because I felt it too.
See, I'd always sort of like vowed to myself, especially once I got to that tender age of 27 that I'm still at.
Perpetually.
Yeah, perpetually.
You look great.
Perpetually, thank you. I sort of told myself that when I found this being, that I wasn't going to do to her that thing, So once I knew, it was just like, well, this is it.
Yeah, I remember that engagement felt like it came.
Yeah, I was like, did you guys just meet? And then, hey, come to my birthday party. And then, like, by the way, it's midnight, so that's a year anniversary from our date. And, and that just kind of,
wow.
Yeah, it was like a whole big thing. And her mom, I just met her parents, like, for Christmas. So this was like January 25th. My birthday's the 27th. This was like, I met her parents, like, over, like, New Year's, that holiday. I had 4 days to meet them. Convinced Pops that I was worthy. Ask him for his approval. And, like, don't tell your wife you're the daughter. That was like the agreement. So he held on to this for like a month. And my mother-in-law was so hot. She was like, oh my God, when she got the call, Arlene's engaged. He's like, I know. Yeah.
That's funny. David did the same thing. He asked my dad for permission, but he was like, do not tell like my mom or my sisters, because they would have given it away, because I had no idea that it was coming.
Well.
Yeah.
Even if they try to keep it
Even
in,
if they
like,
try, they're just like, have fun in
why
Korea.
you acting weird? Right. They
would have done
have fun
something
at
like
his
that.
birthday party,
and I
I'm
would have
coming,
been
by
like,
the way.
why did she say it that way? And I would have thought about it and like, oh my God, that means something's gonna happen. Like the wheels would have been
I did the
turning.
same thing with my mother-in-law. Like when I asked my father-in-law, I was like, "You can't tell Susan," and he goes, "Well, I can't not tell her." I was like, "If you tell her, she'll ruin it.
She'll ruin it.
She can't keep a secret. She can't keep good secrets. Like serious secrets, she can keep. But like if it's something that everyone's excited about, she's just like excited.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you so excited? Oh, no reason.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here. Oh, okay. I love you guys. I'm so glad the family's all together for such a special night. We're up to dinner. We're gonna go see a play.
Foreshadowing.
How do you support your significant other when they're sad?
That's not heavy. We in the first, I'd say maybe just under a year into our marriage, had like huge blowout fight. Totally my fault.
It's like it's like a ton of bricks hits you, and you're like, why am I so sad?
And I can tell. It's those little moments, like I think to myself, wow, I'm so lucky. And he's lucky too.
Fight for the fairy tale?